Welcome to the Bhakti Talk Podcast, where we talk about the spiritual path through the wisdom ways, practices, and teachings of our beloved Guru, Swami Premodaya. The Bhakti Talk Podcast is presented by Jewel Tree Center for Spiritual Growth and Guidance. Visit our website at jeweltreecenter.org and be sure to like and subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on all social media platforms at Bhakti Talk Podcasts.
Woo.
We are your hosts, Swami Sky and Ananda. Today, we are going to discuss a common pitfall on the spiritual path. Hiding.
Stop hiding. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something that's near and dear to both of us, as we've talked about many times, aspects as a mode of life before the spiritual path, or I'd say before being on the spiritual path for quite some time. There was a mode of life that was a kind of hiding, a kind of always, some people it's a protective mode. Some people it's a passive mode, like a lack of participation. All the different ways that life is experienced, where running in the, some people it's fear, where all the different ways that life feels like a kind of hiding. You're kind of hiding yourself. You're reserving yourself. You're keeping yourself private. You're always, there's basically a fence, a wall, a steel gate, some sort of, as a mode of moving through life, something between you and living. And there is a kind of mode of you're always hiding yourself. So we're really near and dear to us because of how much it's radically changed for you individually and for me individually, how just coming out of hiding, how to actually living life fully. One of the great teachings, actually, we were just talking about this, that Swami Premodaya has given practitioners, disciples at Jewel Tree, is to contact their aliveness, to bring up their aliveness, to fully live their aliveness. And we were just saying how I'm not sure that this teaching will come into this talk, but clearly it's part of it. That's how do you really live completely, fully as yourself if your mode of moving through life has an element of hiding to it?
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Before we were also speaking like, how will this a part of the teaching fit into the hiding, what we're talking about? Actually, other people. Who do we hide from? We hide ourselves. We hide ourselves from other people, and it starts so early. We are, as soon as we're born, we're raised to be very separate, to be very cautious, to be very, very, very guarded from everything that's not us, that's not our family. Stay away. Be sure. Don't say too much. Don't talk too much. Don't come too close to other people because, stranger danger. I know it's
stranger danger. Yeah,
it's a big thing in the US, but also Europe, where I'm living. It's also big. Be guarded. Always have your guard up. It's very conditioned into us. It's we don't live in cultures that propagate actual being normal, actual being out there, being with other people. Being yourself is also the ability to be with other people. And as our guru says, the teaching, life is other people. It's being guarded towards life, guarded towards other people.
Yeah, it's a message of fear. Other people are to be feared. Yeah. And the teaching, so we refer to the teaching, we're relating to our beloved Guru, Swami Premodaya, and his teaching work over the last 23 years. And one of the essential teachings that's part of his work is what you just said, that life is other people, and what we're really conditioned into. And I'm just saying the same thing you just said, which is to fear other people. And there is a it starts to be built in from what you just said, very, very young, very early on. And then we start to have all of these life experiences. We start to have it guaranteed. Every human life involves traumatic experiences. Some would say being born is already quite a intense process, but everybody has traumatic experiences. And if you have certainly an early developmental trauma, or it doesn't have to be early developmental, but if you have trauma in your life, then there's other reasons why hiding as a mode becomes part of how you move through life. And quite simply, I consider that a kind of suffering, because
Mhm.
you're cut off from other people, if you're not able to live naturally as yourself, that all is hurts. It all is a kind of suffering. It's very difficult to live truly as you are. And one of the teachings from Swami Premodaya is that to be you is the spiritual path. To be yourself, to be
Mhm.
fully you, to be who you really are is the spiritual path. That's the
Mhm.
entire spiritual path. And it's very hard to do that in a mode of hiding within yourself. Another great teaching that Swami Premodaya gave us, it's actually a practice, not a teaching, a practice that he gave us to overcome this as a mode is we're kind of inside yourself. So this part is the teaching, then the practice. So inside yourself, we kind of live in the background.
Mhm.
That's the understanding that he's given, and everybody who has looked, I'm sure there's always some exception, but most people, if you look, you kind of live in the background of yourself. And so that was a teaching he gave us to check out, and then the practice was to bring yourself to the forefront, bring all of yourself forward, fully bring yourself inside yourself to the forefront. And what you end up seeing from that practice is that a good portion of the time, and most of us most of the time is another way to say it, live in the background inside of ourselves. Now
Mhm.
for some people that's a mode of hiding, and other people would have different there's different ways to talk about it, but specifically today we're talking about hiding, because I know for me, when I really decided to stop hiding myself, who I am, my spiritual life,
Mhm.
and just live it mostly inside myself, because those in my life would say, you're already doing all of this. Your life is about spiritual life. But when I made that decision in myself to actually stop hiding, everything changed for me. Everything got easier. Relating got richer. Everything, all of it is just abundant riches after riches after riches, and they're still paying off.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's got what did it for me is stopping caring what other people think.
mhm,
It's a big one for many people. We tend to care what other people think. And by caring, it's also you're in a feedback loop. You think you know what other people think, and they're also thinking that you know what they think. And it's all imagined, but if you live like that, then you're always having your guard up and trying to live to a certain image you think you have or you think other people have of you. It's all imaginary, and it
it's
is
all imagined.
coming out of the illusion you created for yourself. And with just only that stopping caring, that dropping, oof, a whole world opens up, and you all of a sudden notice there's nothing to be afraid of. There was
Mhm,
nothing to be afraid of.
mhm.
Other people are fine most of the time, as we mentioned already before in other episodes. They don't they're often too preoccupied with themselves to even notice you, to or even to know or to see that you're around. So it's yeah, it's the main thing is it is imagined. It is
Mhm.
that is what we're creating all the time.
One of the challenges with this imagination mode is whatever is your imagined programming, which is just conditioning. That's all it is. It's conditioned into you the way it's conditioned into everybody, and everybody has a variation. But what you're describing is beautiful because it relates to everybody, because everybody has some conditioning like this. And one of the biggest issues with this conditioning is that lens you're looking through. Because you're looking through that lens, you're going to find some reason on why that imagination is real. You're going to think, oh, everybody judge you, and you're going to be looking through that lens of people judging you, and of course you're going to find it. But it doesn't change the fact that it's imagined. We tend to find evidence that somehow proves the imagination, because that's what you're programmed. If you're programmed to think that everybody's aggressive, you're definitely going to find lots of evidence that everybody's aggressive, and it still won't be true. It's still imagined. It'll be, of course, everybody has everything inside them, and whatever you're pre-programmed to determine, the problem is you're going to find proof of that, and it won't mean that it's actually true. So it's part of the essential part of all spiritual paths includes the negative. It always includes it. You have to stop. That's why we titled this "Stop Hiding," because you could say one of the things we want to talk about is saying yes to life. Yeah. Now that's another approach to stop hiding, but you'll notice that if you get rid of the negatives, if you get rid of saying no, you'll find yourself saying yes. The spiritual path is always a negation, at least in the beginning, because one way that Guruji puts it is if you get rid of the false, all that'll remain is the truth. So you don't have to worry about finding the truth. You just have to get rid of the false. Yeah. If you get rid of the false, you'll see all the true things.
Yeah. And when you actually do stop hiding, or more and more, or enough, you notice that the saying yes is actually normal, is actually automatic. Saying yes, I'm also paraphrasing what you just said. Saying yes is less an activity than saying no. Saying no is the stopping. That's the actual that acquires awareness, and then seeing it, and then saying, okay, no, I stop it, and then the yes bubbles up automatically. Then everything can start to flow. That is how it happened for me, and what happened for me, because you could say acceptance. No, it's not something you do. Acceptance is not something you do. Acceptance is something you allowing, accepting, because it bubbles up. It is natural, and yeah.
So I want to take a minute and acknowledge Osho, our beloved Guru's Guru. So Swami Premodaya is a disciple of Osho, and you and I are also both disciples of Osho. We took sannyas with Osho. And we acknowledge Osho because that was his teaching. One of his biggest essential messages was just say yes to life. In fact, it's a phenomenal song that's very popular amongst the Osho community. Just say yes to life. And so just say yes, just say yes. And for me, it really was stop hiding. And stop hiding ended up getting me to a just say yes. So I was able to get to yes to life, yes, 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 once I stopped hiding. And it was a turning point for me, because I noticed even after many years with Swami Premodaya that I was still hiding. And I especially noticed it when I started working with people at Jewel Tree. So Guruji had asked me to, or recognized it started to happen. I recognized he heard some conversations I had, and then it was just, there was training involved, and all the years of the teaching work. And I was the first person ever involved in the practitioner training program back in 2005. So even now I can hear how I'm kind of being reserved about, there's training involved. Yeah, let me not say that. There's been extensive, vast study, practice, and direct training with my beloved Guru Swami Premodaya. And there's a few years ago, I'm not sure of the exact time now, but something was very clearly changed. And in relating and talking to people, I remember the exact moment. I remember when Premodaya, I was talking to somebody, we had the mystery school curriculum and we had a study group, and I was talking to someone in the study group, and I was at Swami Premodaya's residence. So I was in the dining area and he overheard. And when the meeting, when my Zoom meeting finished, he said, "Come here, I want you to sit on the couch. So you can sit down for a minute." It's like, I want you to hear this, and I don't want you to say anything back. So I'm going to tell you something, and I don't want you to say anything, but I just want you to take it in. I was like, okay. And my conditioning from a long time ago always thinks something bad or something negative, but somehow that wasn't there. There was no like, this is negative, because he said, just listen, just take it in. And he said, you really got the teaching. You got it. You have, and I understood that to mean that I had received his teaching work, and I have studied it and taken it and imbibed it so much that he's saying you can now, I'm also adding what he said later, that you can now relate the teaching. So it's basically there's to say it one way is I'm an authority on the spiritual teaching work of my beloved Guru Swami Premodaya. So that's a simple way to put it. And then over time, there's weeks or months later, I was recognized as the lineage holder at Jewel Tree, Swami Premodaya's lineage holder. Mm-hmm. And so I remember that whole process. And in that process, so now anything that remained in me that is still hiding, which definitely there was, mm-hmm. was immediately brought to light. Because how do you hide now? And immediately I was searching for ways. I definitely was searching for ways of how do I don't want anybody to know this. But it's an open universe, which we'll talk about very shortly. And so everything is to be seen. Mm-hmm. So I saw that there was still me hiding. And I didn't want any of this. It wasn't something I desire. Mm-hmm. I desire to practice and absorb the teaching and support my guru's work. But I don't desire to be out and be somebody who inherently will be part of the center. People will be looking at you, so they'll be looking directly at you as the center of attention. When you're an authority on a teaching and you're now speaking to that teaching, where you're going to get some attention. So I've never desired that. It's never been any of my interest. But I could see that I immediately was very aware of the hiding that was still being carried and still mm-hmm. being lived. So very shortly after that, I decided to wear the very ancient tradition of wearing all orange. And I think I've explained before some of the reasons on why orange. Mm-hmm. First of all, Osho's original, they were called the Orange people. Orange is the tradition of many lineages and teachings. It's the color of light. It's the color of sunset. It's the color of renunciation. Be in the world, not of the world. So orange, but it's also so you really stand out. It's there you are, and there you are. There's no hiding. I literally dress like a traffic cone everywhere I go. Traffic cones are meant to be seen. So for me, a big part of the reason why, besides the mystical experiences I've had with the association of orange, saffron, gold, I've had a number of mystical experiences with it, besides the traditions that go across, many different first of all, thousands of years and all kinds of practices. It also was simply to stop hiding, so that I could not remain inside myself, somehow hiding what my guru had identified, recognized, and said. So now I am and clearly out there as Swami Sky. There's nowhere I go. I'll say it positively. Everywhere I go, you can see me, and it's clear. I always have some sort of mala, usually with my guru's face on it. And so it's very identifiable. There is no hiding of what my guru has recognized and stated publicly enough times that people can find it. So that was a huge turning point for me as far as internally. Then all of those decades of burden and suffering and pain, of reasons that were put into place on why a hiding habit existed, were all washed away. And it really, really was a final turning because I had made the decision to stop hiding.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And it is the traditional way. You chose it. You chose to take it on for yourself. Guruji has spoken also about it, what a gift it was when Osho demanded his people to wear what was the collar after?
It's all red, but it was more like an ochre or like a burgundy maroon. So it was all red. It was all head to toe red. And remember, that's before the internet. So if you want all red clothes, you got to go find it. This wasn't, you didn't just Google search red shoes, and if you're a business person, which, Guruji had to wear a suit in his line of work at the time, or part of his internship, so you have to find a suit jacket and good luck finding all that in red in the 80s when you have to go to store to store and try to find things that fit and look okay and are actually red. Now I kind of have it easy. I just literally put orange pants and it's like click.
And also as a sannyasin, as an Osho disciple, wearing the mala with his face, he was very notorious. People knew him for all the wrong reasons. It's a cult, it's a sect. The Rolls Royces, and having a mark on you all the time.
It's a target. So that's a good point. It's one thing we don't want to miss today. So it's a good point because the world doesn't support genuine spiritual seekers. They don't. I mean, historically, if you look at any recorded history, somebody who's an original, who is you're persecuted. So genuine spiritual gurus, masters of the ages, have been persecuted. And absolutely, if you're going to live as you, then you're going to live as an original, because there's only one of you. There'll only ever be one of you. And if you live as an original, if you're not just a cog in society's wheel, then there is an attitude, to put it the most mild, of lack of support. You're weird. You've joined a cult. You're, that's that strange. That's the most mild form. And then obviously the worst form is they nail you to a cross and, murder you. They kill you. Luckily we're not Jesus, and and we live in a time where we're, at least for now, that we're free to practice in whatever's way that's natural and right for you. But make no mistake that there's definitely, the large religions look at meditation as black magic, just meditation. So that still goes on to this day. So the world doesn't support your originality. The world doesn't support your genuine spiritual search. But everything else does. It's like Guruji has said, like all the gurus who have ever existed, whoever will exist. It's like all the entire universe supports you to be naturally you. It's kind of like crazy people who really try to keep anything from growing in their lawn except for a particular kind of grass, and they put all the poisons down or whatever. It's like, yeah, but the whole world supports all what we call weeds are just natural. It's like you're a dandelion and you're this and it's like everything else is like, but they will try to keep you out of their lawn. But that's okay. You've got the rest of the planet to move around. Just stay out of their lawn.
Yeah. And it is just the worldly forces that wants to keep you locked in, wants to keep you in a box. It's all conditioning, what we talked about. It's stay small, stay little, stay within the confines of society, stay within what is being considered as normal. And that is also the basis for the I. Stay within this separate little structure that seems to be workable. Keep it small, keep it tiny, keep it tidy. Stay within the norm, so be normal instead of be your actual self. Be out there. The I is also, that is the grand illusion, the big illusion.
Yeah, the world just it supports the world, which I would call an illusion. It's your whole life isn't just about producing things at work and then buying things on the weekend. There's more to life than that, and that's all we're referring to. It's be in the world but not of the world. So yeah, everybody has to work. You have to pay your bills, you have to eat, and you'll have medical expenses. All of these things are going to happen in any life. You'll have great friends and you'll have people you can't stand and they can't stand you, but that's just the stuff. And your whole life is not about just being another piece in the world wants to continue. That makes sense. Everything wants to survive, as Guruji talks about it. Anything that exists wants to keep on existing, including your own ego, including the worldly illusion. But it's if you want truth, if you want God, if you want reality, if you want what matters more in life, then it'll be essential that you know yourself, be yourself, live as yourself. It's frequently referred to as God's plan. If you want to be God's plan is not just how much, yes, you have to do your taxes, but it's not all about the line items on your taxes. Life certainly is more than numbers and calculations. And, the world's basic message is don't make trouble, follow the rules, don't make trouble. You can not make trouble. You don't have to break any laws, but there's more to life than just the system of structure that's been created to organize people. That's not all that matters. What matters certainly is what's bigger, what's the invisible or the beyond. So I think one thing you touched upon that I think would be good to come back to is how it is an open universe, and how life sees you. You could say God, whatever word is right for you, how the universe, one way this is referred to very simply is the sun shines on everything equally. So the sun doesn't really care, what your job is, what your role is, and, what your bank account is. It shines on everything equally. And in that same way, I'd like you to say more, if you would, especially since you're more the positive, where you said yes to life, and how one of the seeings that really changed something for you that you were telling me about is how this is an open universe and how you really saw that. So I was hoping you'd speak to that.
Yeah, it is also one of the teachings of our beloved Guru Swami Premodaya. He specifically stated, this is an open universe. Nothing is hidden whatsoever. No in, no out. Um, yeah, I always come back to how we separate ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's only through separating that is being an I. And now I'm actually coming back to being locked in, but seeing that there is nothing, you it is impossible to hide. We think we can hide, but you also mentioned it. Everyone knows everything, another teaching. Everyone sees everything. It is literal. um, Everything we think we hide from others and also from ourselves, it is so clearly visible. um, yeah, I don't know a better way to say it, actually.
Well, I think that's a great way to say it, but I think what matters to me is when we say stop hiding, we mean inside yourselves
Hmm.
because it's an open universe. Like, people can see when you're really peaceful, it's there. People
Hmm.
can see when you're really hurting and you're really suffering. And the hiding we tend to do is inside ourselves because it is an open universe. Everybody's had the experience where everyone knows more about you than you know about yourself, which is why life is other people. We need other people. You really need other people. And we kind of are taught to hide these things. And the most we travel the furthest, the fastest when we're completely self honest and when what comes to light in what we don't know about ourselves. So there's nothing to fear there because everybody else probably already knows it. And we usually are afraid of what people will really know. So that's also another thing with hiding. And bringing all that to light just frees you up so you can actually be yourself. It's just the messaging of the world, it's just the conditioning of the people who raised us that causes all the confusion. And it is all there to be seen. And one reason not to be afraid of it, or one excellent reason to stop hiding, is because, like we were saying with the sun, you're already fully accepted. If if life was gonna uh, reject you in some form, you wouldn't be here. You're here. If you're alive, if you're here, if you're able to listen to this, it means you already have the support of the entire universe. All of the air is taken care of for you. All of the breathing is taken care of for you. All of your bodily functioning, for the most part, is taken care of for you. And so you're already completely accepted by life. You're already fully supported by life. So whatever you think needs to be hidden, it's simply not true. It's already out there. Everybody can already see who you are, and here you are. You're loved. You're accepted. You're supported.
Yeah, and the hiding is because we also said say yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
so stop hiding, saying yes. You could say it's a progression, and then the next step, Osho, celebrate everything.
Mhm.
Uh, but going back, uh, before saying yes, if you're not saying yes, you're obviously saying no, and no is part of the hiding. Saying no, complaining. It's very easy. I've been a massive complainer. I complained about everything, and it was energetically. I'm sure it's very, very, very visible. Um, um, I know it was visible. It was in my attitude. It was in my sighing. It was um, everyone. If even if they didn't have the words, they couldn't explain it, but they felt my complaint. They felt me energetically shutting down, hiding, retreating, not being
Mhm.
in myself. And so the saying no has a, as opposed to saying yes, saying yes is a very joyful thing.
Mhm.
It, the no covers the yes. The no covers the natural joy that is there. The acceptance I talked about, the saying yes to life, is actually allowing the joy that is always the case underneath, um, the bubbly feeling, just existing. Another teaching of our beloved guru, just existing is the greatest pleasure possible. The just existing is the greatest pleasure possible. That is saying yes to life. That is celebrating everything. That is stopping hiding, because the hiding is the barrier towards actually living the natural joy that is always the case. And yeah, complaining is definitely not saying yes. It's wanting things to be different. It's got everything to do with wanting to control, wanting your preference, thinking you can control something, thinking you have power, that you do something, and just accepting that, oh, I don't control anything and I don't do anything. It's all just happening, really. And how can I be so blessed to be alive,
Mhm.
have everything given to me for free. I have a guru, I have a spiritual life. This is incredible. This is wild beyond measure. And that has been for sure a catalyst also for me in enlivening, in growing, and that is the whole thing. Stopping hiding is stopping saying no, stopping paying attention to everything that says no in you and outside of you. um, no in and no out. It's all the same thing, but the no on the outside, the seeming outside, is society, is conditioning, is the world. The no on the inside, it's the same thing, is the world in you,
Mhm.
is conditioning in you. um,
And the world is life negating. It
mhm.
is. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
completely programmed in a life negating way. This is why we were talking about earlier how we completely understand how hiding as a mode, as a feeling, as a response happens. It kind of gets you kind of hide your light under a bushel. You hide yourself. You hide the fact that you love art because you know depending where you were born, they really shut it down. Oh, well, music, art, whatever it is, your creativity, your whatever's natural and right for you. Somebody might love, their creativity might be numbers, but somebody didn't understand it, or their parents were didn't want their 7-year-old to be smarter than them, so they shut it down. So the world is life negating because it's about fitting you into the structure that you were born into. So it's not about what's best for you. It's about how do you fit into this structure. And even the best parents, everybody gets highly conditioned. So understand when we mean world, we just mean the systems, programming, conditioning. Everybody is conditioned. So everybody is really, really highly programmed to be life negative. Like, I mean, what's one great way that everybody is programmed? Because everybody's afraid of death. You're taught to be completely afraid of what's natural. You're taught to fit into what works in the society. IT is really popular now. Another time doctors were the best thing, and now you could also be somebody in Silicon Valley. It just changes. It's another time it was royalty, and it's just those are all conditions. None of that is about what's right, good, and natural for you. None of that is about the path to cosmic consciousness, higher consciousness, God, truth, reality. So understand that when we say world, we're talking about something that's life negating. And so we truly understand why a mode would be there, especially highly sensitive people. This is not a highly sensitive world. This is a very harsh attitude, the way people treat each other now, the what things you're exposed to on the internet that you never would have been exposed to before. So we understand, starting to cover all that over. We understand why hiding is there, but. And also, I must say that we're also not saying be careless. We're not saying take that which is the most precious to you. It's so the term for this is pearls before swine. So that's the teaching of this. We're not saying be careless. We're not saying, Osho actually said to his people, had them stop wearing red and stop wearing the mala when it became actually hazardous in Oregon, when they were actually being shot at and attacked. It was, I don't want my people to actually be, targets. And so we're not saying pearls before swine, but and be careless and make yourself a target. Go out there and really go to a rally that is, opposing your views. We're not saying do that. If that's what your entertainment is, feel free, have fun, but don't be careless with your precious, that which you hold sacred, but also you don't have to hide it, especially in yourself, especially with the way that you move through life. And so many people do, because the world has really, really conditioned everybody to vilify gurus, and to now everything's a cult, as if everything else is an occult. It's very, it's very biased that way. And so they've really vilified anything that's not mainstream. And of course, what do people do is they always point to some cases where they really were nasty, evil people that they should be vilified. But that doesn't mean that just because it's different, it's somehow, what's the result? What's the actual case here? And instead they lump everything in with a really wild idea that, made for good headlines, just because it's different. So we understand the hiding. We're not saying, be careless or pearls before swine. And we are saying that there is massive support, even though it may not feel that way. So there is very real, profound support for genuine spiritual seekers. And like I said, it's all gurus and everywhere and all time, both past, living, and in the future, and the entire cosmos supports what's natural. Otherwise, it wouldn't grow here.
Yeah, and it also occurs to me how it's linked to your human integrity. Stopping hiding. It's not stopping your joy, your spiritual life, what you know in your deepest self to be the case, to be true, does not have to be hidden. Yes, discernment is important. You don't have to get into fights, but you keep your integrity. You don't hide your joy. You don't. I just had it happened recently how someone was offended by my joy. I was singing on a bus with children, and the person that was offended came up to me and said how he was ashamed. And I just didn't know what he was talking about, but then it occurred. So he had a lot of assumptions, he had a lot of stuff going on, but I was very happy that it was possible for me to be clean, clear, composure, saying, okay, that's fine. That's what you feel. Have a nice day. I'm going to stay happy. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's one of the conditionings of the world. One of the basic ones is, I don't know if this is in Europe, but it's definitely in America. There's a common phrase when somebody's joking around heavy. This happens all the time in every scenario. I've experienced it over and over again. I've experienced it with friends. I've experienced it at work. I've experienced it all over. And it's this is the phrase, you're having too much fun. Are you out of your effing mind? How can you have too much fun? What the hell is wrong with us that the idea that the common phrase when you see somebody, playing around too much, that a common phrase is, you guys are having way too much fun. That's crazy.
It is.
Just, and the idea that somebody is, I'm ashamed, like, yeah, well, enjoy it. Like, have fun with your shame. I'm not. Like, enjoy your shame. Enjoy that all day. I hope you stay ashamed. Keep the shame. Rock and roll. Because I mean, like, you're ashamed. Okay, thank you. Is there anything else you want me to know about you? Like, it's got nothing to do with me. Like, what a wacky. So you have to be a part of not hiding is you have to have the strength to stand up for yourself when the situation requires it. Same for your spiritual life. You must stand up for your spiritual life, because the way that things work on this planet, which Guruji lovingly refers to as well, I added lovingly. To me, it's lovingly as the friction planet. This is the friction planet. He also quoted Adida when we were in the mystery school as everything on this. Everything eats everything else. I mean, there's a whole lot of rub there, and all of that is unnecessary and avoidable. It's okay to have maximum fun, and whatever that limit is, you can go way beyond that. And if you're carrying shame, you're just saying, I'm a highly conditioned person, and how you're acting is challenging my conditioning. And none of that has anything to do with the essence of who you really are. All of that is just stuff. Those are just ideas agreed upon by the culture you're currently residing in. And none of that is real. It's all just nonsense. So stopping hiding also includes you have to have the ability to stand up for yourself. We're not saying, again, going back to pearls before swine, we're not saying make yourself a target. We're not saying, go out there and truly make your life difficult by fighting with the world. We don't think you should fight with the world. That's a waste of time and energy. You just be in the world, but not of it. But it certainly means that you don't dim your flame for anyone else for any reason, even if it's loved ones. It could be your spouse. It could be whoever it is. We honor everybody, but there's to continue living in a way where you're dampening your aliveness instead of bringing up your aliveness. Instead of being yourself completely, you're always giving a piece of yourself away. You're always kind of hiding behind. You're in the background of yourself. You're not participating in your own life. That's not the way of the mystic, the way of the spiritual seeker, the way of the spiritual finder. If you want the truth, these things are essential for your path. It's essential. So that's why we are talking today about stopping hiding. And if you learn these things, even a little bit, it'll change everything. And then whatever else has to be strengthened, if you have to learn how to navigate standing up for yourself more, it'll happen through the practice of it. So when you really stop hiding, you're basically stepping into the light. You're basically being who you are. And that has its own momentum. And so that's what happened for me. That's what happened for you. When you actually make part of your practice, stopping hiding, all these other aspects are involved with it. That's why we're touching on the different topics.
Yeah. Stopping hiding out of eye, out of mind, just out there, open. And then, you really start to notice that, what have I been hiding from? What was this about? It becomes incomprehensible. It becomes really very strange.
And you also, what you tend to notice is what you've been hiding is the very best in you.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? We're talking about hiding your joy, hiding your humor, hiding that which is the absolute. We have no problem. I'm not picking on you, but you shared it. So there, we have no problem sharing our complaints.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
no problem. I mean, that if you need any more clarity on what the world is made of, just look. You can always share your anger. You can
Yeah.
always share your brutality. You can always share your negativity. You can always share your complaint. But if you share your joy, somebody's like, I'm ashamed.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you were screaming at that kid, he probably would have said, good job.
Yeah.
You know,
And the
it's
and
crazy.
yeah, and the funny thing is also that another side of the hiding is that we are also afraid of ourselves, afraid,
Mhm.
because we think like, oh, if I don't control myself, if I don't at least hide a little bit, oh, what might come out? But the reality of it is that what you said already, it's just the best in you. There's no need for the vast majority of people to be afraid of what comes out. The ones who are yeah, the ones who are afraid shouldn't be afraid of
Right.
what's
Right.
coming.
Yeah. And typically what we're hiding inside of ourselves, Guruji has a great title for one of the recordings, which is whatever's wrong with you isn't as bad as you think, and whatever is right with you isn't as good as you think. And so we really are hiding. It usually ends up being the very best of ourselves. It ends up being the very light, very joy. So all of these are the reasons to. We really wanted to talk today about
Yeah,
making part of your practice to stop hiding, and that there is massive support. And obviously, we're part of Jewel Tree Center spiritual growth and guidance. And Jewel Tree Center is a phenomenal place for support because we don't have a dogma or a particular belief system. In fact, our whole view is get rid of all systems, get rid of all beliefs. Um, but one of our taglines is your path is our mission, your path, our mission, because it really is about the individual. And so, just like Jewel Tree Center, there are many, many, many places that support your true and authentic and real self as you are, and that being completely what's right for you, whatever works and is right for you, that's your path. And our we're just a place. Many people who walk through the door say, oh wow, this place is so peaceful, I can feel the love. And part of the love and part of the peacefulness is we're a space where your real self is very welcomed, where we won't tear down your joy, where you're very free to be who you are. And so I guess I'm just encouraging people that there are many sources for support on the spiritual path. And there are very real places, including Jewel Tree Center, that will directly support your spiritual path in you being authentic yourself. Where, in other words, it's a very safe, free space where you don't have to hide, where nobody's going to be shocked by your real self, where you're you're free to be a weirdo. Like you're fine. We're okay here. We're not here to judge anyone. The world
and
is not interested in your non-worldliness, where that's all we're interested in.
yeah, and by stopping hiding in a very, very safe environment, you can actually be self-honest. You
Mhm.
actually learn to know yourself. One of the great things I found out about myself, it made me laugh so much and it made me so happy, was all of a sudden I noticed like, wow, I have been walking around with this idea that I'm so intelligent. I'm not that smart, actually. It was like, wow, fantastic. I'm not that smart, and it's fine. It's like, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, one of the essential teachings given early on, I think this might have been 2004, was honesty is the best spiritual policy. And yeah, the truth always ends up feeling better. You're like, oh, because then I'm not spinning this bubble of idea of imagination of who I should be or ought to
Yeah.
be or what I'm supposed to be. Instead, I get to naturally be myself. And again, I'll just say it again: to be you is the spiritual set is the spiritual path. To be who you really are. To be you is the spiritual path.
And
It's a whole spiritual path.
absolutely. And it leads to, yeah, just hearing it. To be you, it's better, so much better than to be a pretend you. It's dropping all pretension. To be you leads automatically to actually be yourself. It's so relaxing
Mhm.
because you don't have to stress about anything. You are just you. You are just yourself with all your qualities, with all your flaws, with all your warts, with all your pimples, whatever it is. It's all fine. It's
And to get to that, to live that takes honesty, and
Mhm.
it'll take the removal of the things that aren't you. So you
Mm.
don't have to do all kinds of things to become who you are, other than to get rid of who you aren't.
Yeah.
And that ends up being the spiritual path. That is the spiritual path.
Mhm. Stop hiding.
Yes. Well, I mean, to tie it all off, how can you be who you really are if inside yourself as a mode of life, kind of running all the time, is you're hiding who you are? So
Mhm.
how could you live that totally?
Yeah.
And the way to do that is to stop hiding.
Yeah. And it is definitely something you do to yourself.
Mhm,
You you think it's more related to others, but no, it's all about you.
mhm.
You are shortchanging yourself.
Like many things on the spiritual path or in life, you're not necessarily responsible for how this got there. You
Mhm.
know, it got there through conditioning, but you are responsible for removing. If you're anybody listening to this is for grown adult spiritual seekers. You're responsible for removing it. You're responsible for what you do now. However, it got there, and now it's if you want to change your life, if you want to truly live as yourself. Uh, Stopping hiding is an essential part of the spiritual path.
Mhm. Mhm.
And not everybody will experience this is why we talk about everything in all the different ways, because not everybody will experience, as we've talked about it today, as a kind of hiding. So if that doesn't sit
Mhm.
accurate for you, it doesn't matter. You do what actually does apply to you. And that's why it really here at Jewel Tree Center, it is your path, our mission. There's some people who might listen to this and it doesn't apply to them at all. This is not the how they can't lock into it. They can't key into it. But for other people and for many people, it is experienced as a mode of hiding, is a kind of a way of going through life. And we gave many ways to come out of hiding, which is one, you make a decision. Two, you make it. Another way is that you start saying yes to everything, yes to life. So the negative way or the negation is you stop hiding. The positive way is you start saying yes to yourself, saying yes to life, yes all the time. Um, Another way we touched upon is you become brutally self honest. All of these are essential keys to the spiritual path. And all of these will lead more and more and more to you living as who you really are, and becoming you really for real, and relaxing into that and allowing into that. And it's amazing how suffering starts to dissolve in different branches. And so we're just giving yet another way that we've come to through our guru's work, which is to stop hiding. So,
Yeah. And it is also the way in then also if whenever that occurs, then the whole you, the whole I also starts to dissolve. And then
mhm,
that's and it's a necessary step. It's necessary to be be here now with yourself, to then, yeah.
And we'll wrap up this way, that at Jewel Tree Center, you're very welcome in any way. We love meeting people. We love being with people. We love traveling together. If we can ever be a support, if we can ever offer guidance, you're very invited. We have a full calendar, which you can find on our website. Ananda Dev will share that with you in just a moment. Just know that if you're on a spiritual path, if you're listening to us, we are a huge supporters of yours. We admire all spiritual seekers. We honor all spiritual paths, and we completely support you. And if we can ever be a direct support, contact us in any way. But the Bhakti Talk podcast is literally our pleasure to get together to share in our beloved Guru's teaching work. And then I get the honor of relating to you, my beloved Guru brother. And we have our Guru sister, Alana, helping us produce these episodes. So we appreciate the opportunity to get together, because Bhakti Talk is love, devotion. We love talking about the spiritual path. I love talking to you. And so anybody listening to this, we're very grateful for, and we would love to see you at an event in the near future.
Yes. Thank you, my beloved brother, Swami Sky. Thank you to you, the listener, and humble gratitude to our beloved Guru, Bodhisattva Sri Swami Premodaya, and to Jewel Tree Center for making this possible. Upcoming events and programs at jeweltreecenter.org. Free wisdom library containing guided meditations on premodayatv.com, where you can find spiritual discourses and songs. Jai Jai Gurudev.